Why are LLMs annoying little suck-ups? Turns out it's not a bug. It is a feature intentionally included to keep you clicking and coming back for more. But to prove it, I do need to drag you kicking and screaming through a brief history of user interface design. Yeah? Ready? Let's go! Chatbots are the latest in a thriving history of using predatory design tactics that exploit our psychological vulnerabilities to keep us plugged into a product. These tactics are called dark patterns. When the term dark patterns was first coined by Henry Brignall in 2010, it included things like preventing comparison shopping, emotionally manipulating users into taking actions, like instead of labeling it unsubscribe from our newsletter, labeling it I'd rather be uninformed, faking urgency, scarcity, or popularity to encourage users to act now, making something difficult or confusing to cancel, hiding fees and subscriptions, and adding interruptions that divert a user from their actual goal, like getting sucked into reels when you were actually trying to check on your friends. So we've all experienced systems with predatory tactics, but none of those original design patterns addressed LLMs. So let's add sycophancy to the list. Sycophancy, or the tendency of LLMs to agree with and support the validity of a user's ideas, is a dark pattern because it hijacks the psychological vulnerabilities of human reasoning. To explain, we need a quick dog leg into behavioral science research, but I promise it will be short and jargon free. One of the prominent theories of human reasoning is called argumentative theory, which basically just means that a bunch of scientists believe that human reasoning evolved to win arguments, not to find truth. Think about it. Thinking is not a solo act of independent truth finding. We are out here together, and our reasoning happens in social situations where many people's thoughts and ideas are all bouncing off of each other. Our reasoning evolved to work in this push and pull. So what happens when we chuck our brains into LLM land? We encounter a system designed to be smooth, responsive, and helpful, rather than what we encounter in human conversation, which can be adversarial and self-correcting. And what happens? Out pops bias amplification. And the shitty thing is that despite that, or maybe even because of it, some studies have shown users preferred and trusted sycophantic AI responses, incentivizing AI developers to preserve sycophantic behaviors despite the risk. We know that sycophancy increases for users with certain political stances, and it carries serious risks, especially for groups who are already vulnerable to manipulation or delusion. And if right now you're thinking, oh, that sounds a lot like an alt-right pipeline, you would be correct. This is an economic and disability justice issue. But if so unsafe, why users like it more? It feels good to be right. It feels good to be flattered and to be told we're on to something here. We are a social species utterly dependent on the group to survive. And social validation is foundational to humanness. So when a machine plugs directly into that core, weird shit happens, like model responses being nearly 50% more sycophantic than human responses, even when the user engaged in unethical, illegal, or harmful behavior. Our social validation gets hijacked and pushback never comes. One bright side is that sycophancy seems to exist on a vector from just a smidge to holy freaking hell, this is awful. One study from the University of Buenos Aires, specifically designed to test the relationship between user trust and sycophancy, published findings that consistently show that participants exposed to high sycophantic behavior reported and exhibited lower levels of trust compared to those who interacted with models with low sycophantic behavior. And people exposed to models with high levels of sycophancy were less likely to use the model again. Trust and sycophancy have a strong negative correlation, but sycophancy and repeat use do too, which means that the more sycophancy you have, the less trust and repeat use you get. Too much drives users away, but just enough keeps users coming back for more. That fact becomes a dark design pattern when companies decide, hey, why not tune the annoying suck-up levels to each group or even individual user? All the better for personalized psychological manipulation, because it is a choice. We know that sycophancy in models is a choice that companies are making, and not just some inherent, unavoidable consequence of language models. Because one, we're seeing a huge range of outputs from different models, from mostly safe to wildly dangerous. A recent study out of King's College London found that in longer conversations, GPT-4o, Grok 4.1 Fast, and Gemini all validated and elaborated on users' delusions, while Claude Opus 4.5 and GPT 5.2 Instant both established relationships and had intervention. We also know that sycophancy is a choice that companies are making because of a recent computational linguistics paper out of Carnegie Mellon and Emory. They showed that alignment tuning amplifies sycophantic behavior, whereas model scaling and reasoning optimization actually made the models better able to resist users' delusional views. Sorry for the jargon. Let me explain. Alignment tuning, model scaling, and reasoning optimization are all methods you can use to change how an LLM works. Alignment tuning, our villain, is done with bots, and humans give feedback on the results of a model, and the model changes strategies to get higher scores. The model is trained to chase human approval. You can see why this might lead to more sycophantic behavior. Whereas model scaling and reasoning optimization are sort of meta-prompting techniques that have LLMs break down concepts into small logical steps, use external sources, and just take more time to generate responses. Companies could simply choose this safer route, but instead, they've all decided to make sycophancy a dark design pattern. Meanwhile, our regulators are out here chasing things like age verification, which we know is harmful. We need regulators to focus on giving people the real choice about what automations they're exposed to deeply understand and choose between different kinds of models and different kinds of exposures. User consent sounds interesting to you. That's what we're talking about next time. All of my references are up for free on my Patreon. And if you want to encourage me to do more things like this, I'm gonna need your help. You know what I'm talking about. The like, the subscribe, the comment, the hype points. Baby channels need that. Help me with connecting with humans, please. Social validation. Okay, bye.